Hello, mayors and mayoresses, how are you? I hope so. We're here starting another episode of Bahia de Barbosa, and look at this fantastic winter view here in our German city, taking this aerial tour. If you're enjoying this series, please like the video at the start. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing because I really want to reach 100,000 subscribers. Can you imagine Barbosa here with a 100,000 plaque? For someone who started recording on a PlayStation 4 and with kind of amateur quality, it would be really rewarding. So I'm counting on your help, on your support. Let's go for another video here where we will continue the expansion of our state. Alright, who remembers this little village here in the countryside between the lakes, up in the mountains, huh? It looks really beautiful here with these winter colors. It's actually autumn today, right? We're in autumn, I said winter, but it's autumn here. Look at this corridor of trees here along the expressway, right? The contrast of the vegetation here is really cool. But anyway, yeah. Demand for industry, it still exists. Even as we're wrapping up here, look, our area, our industrial complex on both sides. We used to have 40% unemployment in the state, and now we have 22. We've reduced it by almost half, but 22 is still a high number, okay? I wish it was around there. Man, 8%, 6% would be much better than this, okay? So even though we have demand for high density and medium density, I prefer not to bring new people to the city. Zoning with more residences. Why? We have 124,000 jobs for 123 or 24,000 workers. In other words, we're still at the limit of jobs, even though we've created 32,000 jobs here with this district. Okay, we need more. Yes, I'm going to expand with more industry. No, at least not this generic one here that we've been working on for a long time, for several episodes now. Man, it's amazing, okay? It's complete. It's working. It's not crashing at all, right? Not even here with the trucks, okay? They gather up in here, right? But on the main roads, the flow is smooth. About the employees, they came here, right? By train, the trains are coming with a few more people, okay? A lot of people are coming here, especially the employees. Let's see, these people here must be getting off work now. Look, it's 6 o'clock, right? A lot of people are leaving work. And we can see here, right? For example, Adam Keller, he's rich, look at that. And he's a senior at Fixed Traffic. Let's see where Fixed Traffic is. It's an office right next door, look. Yeah, here in the office district. So is he going back home now? Damn, I lost Adam. Where's Adam? Here, look, I found him again. And he lives at 404 Amber Street, which is a street here. Wow, in our New York-style city. So he's gonna take a crazy trip, you see? He lives there with Amelia, Ellen, Tado, and Adelaide. His journey's going to be long. He'll have to catch this train here. He'll probably get off here in the German city and take another train to come to the New York City. So yeah, he works really far away. When we have this other side here, right, he can come through here and just take one train, right? Just one train to get here. But we have to wait for the downloadable content to come out so we can connect here with the drawbridge or bascule bridge, right? We'll test here to see which works best. But anyway, the solution to create more jobs here, other than in the generic industry, is to do it here. I was thinking about an excavation so we could create a mining industry, right? And do mineral extraction here. Because man, look at this landscape, right? It's mountains on all sides. So it leads me to believe that maybe some mining company authorized by the state of Bahia de Barbosa allowed the extraction of this ore in this region. All right. Before we start, let me just show you a few small changes I made here. Look, I put it here, right? We had some big empty spaces here, right? I put a big park here, see? Next to this station, which is still deactivated, I also put a small soccer field here near the station, and it turned out really nice. Are you going to fill in these blocks here? I also placed a unique industry from the unique landmark buildings here. Look, I built the electron. This electron will actually function as an industry, okay? It gives an eye. Besides adding 2% industrial efficiency to the whole city, it also gives 1% more chance of graduation at the university. It will need ore and plastic to produce electronics. So this ore, man, it's definitely being exported, right? Because we don't have any mining companies here in the state. Look, there are 7 tons of ore stored here. They have 2 vehicles, right? A van and a truck. Where's the truck, huh? The truck is around here, and it must be this truck that brings the ore. That's what we import, right? And it gets here at the station and takes it to the company. But now we're going to produce ore. Well, besides these parks, the unique industry, I also placed a unique industry here, which is the dairy house, which requires vegetables and cattle to produce food, right? Maybe it shouldn't stay here. Maybe it should be closer to the farms. I'll move it later. And another change I made was to put low-density offices here to meet the demand we had for offices, which now doesn't exist anymore. All right? So I set up this area to receive it, okay? A lot of offices, and it turned out pretty cool, right? I zoned it but didn't build here, see? It's still near this district, and I probably won't build here. Maybe I'll make a linear park around here, and this really is a job-generating hub, right? And so it wouldn't be just offices in this little corner here. Look, we had these diagonal streets. I put some small buildings, okay? These small buildings here, they're from the Chinese pack, but I thought it looked really cool. It turned out nice here, like a residential development for people who work both in these offices here and over there in the industries, right? So I started placing them here. I thought it looked pretty cute. I made some paths here, put some trees between them, and filled in this space. Between the office district and the railroad and the highway we have here, it turned out really nice. And especially the view for those who pass by here on the highway. It really reminds you of it, right? Highways like this, kind of in the countryside where we're passing by and see these little buildings like this, right? So it's really cool, the view for those arriving in this business region with startups, companies, industry, and so on. This is really the job-generating hub. We reduced our state's unemployment from 40% to 22%. But anyway, enough talk. Let's get this mining company off the ground. I'm even going to move this road back a bit, so we have plenty of space here, plenty of room to work. I was taking a look here before recording. And of course, to make a much more realistic mining site, we have to work on the terrain. And here, the height of this area is 35 meters, right? Above the lowest point of the sea. What does that mean? That if we dig here, we can only go down a maximum of 35 meters. Okay, okay. But I wanted to do something maybe a little deeper so we can actually have several levels of excavation. So what solution did I come up with for this? I'm going to raise the height of this part here, this valley, to make it a little higher. From 35 to maybe 45, not 55. Look, 20 meters more. I think that would already give a really nice improvement. So I'm going to fill in this valley here with this altitude gain. There you go. And then do the excavation. It's going to take a little bit of work because for now I don't want to change the mountain wall too much. So I'll have to use some smaller brushes, right? And come here, look, until this elevation gain meets the same height on the mountain, see? So it looks really, really natural, okay? This line here is the 55.71, right? So I'm not going to go past it, see? I'll always respect this distance here, look. And then I'll have to do this throughout the whole valley. For me, it's going to take a while, but for you, it'll be in the edit. All right, the gain is done here, see? About 20 meters, right? And now I was thinking that I could continue with this gain. And I don't know, instead of 20, right, go up a little less, maybe another 10 meters. So from 55.7, I would go to 65.7. And then, look, I would create another level here, but only around it, okay? For example, I would do it more or less here around this area out here. And here I would leave it, right? at 55 and then gradually go up. And we have several levels of excavation. Anyway, crazy things that you only see here on Barbossa's channel. An excavation going upwards. But I swear it will make sense. I'm making one more level up. This time, taking a lot from the mountain, leaving some cliffs. To create an effect as if we're really taking the foot of the mountain off here. Maybe not everywhere along this whole way, but in some spots that I think would look cool. Look, I'm going to apply an advance here so we can really take it off here in a very aggressive way. See this piece of the mountain base? So it really looks like it was excavated here. And then I'll do it in other areas, maybe here. And here, there's no other way. I'll have to clear the land. Because no forest can withstand mineral exploitation. Look over here, well, at the bottom of the valley, right? The climb is much easier, right? It's much gentler. It's not as steep as the side of the valley. So over here, we can go up several steps of mineral exploration. It's already starting to look really nice. See? When we finish, it'll look even better. Look here, I'm making these advances, see? Here I can make a much bigger advance up to here like this, basing myself on this line here, see? To remove all this soil, you see? I made a lot of progress. And here on this side, right, we can go a little higher up the mountain. And here, guys, do you realize that we started from 35? It's how much here? Look, 35 meters, right? From the road level to an exploration that's happening at 85 meters of altitude. We gained 50 meters there, just like that. Over here, we can also do another excavation, like this way. And then I always smooth out these corners here, see? So it becomes more gradual. And on this side, we can also do some excavations, just like I did here, see? Now, you can do it on this side here, maybe one here and one right here. And now I'm finally going to dig down. And then, right, we already have this level here, the lowest of all, 55.7. We're going to lower it to 45.7. And then look, digging, I'm even thinking about making two craters, see? One here, this south part, and then another one up here to the north. See, that's how it is. There will be another one here. Now, from 45, we go down to 35, which is the level here, see, of the industries. So let's dig and keep going down. Now to 25. I'm not sure there's enough space for us to reach level 0, but let's try. Look here. My fear's doing it, and it filling up with water, okay? Does that happen sometimes during excavations, you hit the water table and it becomes a lake. I asked about this on Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Is it common for excavations for mineral resource extraction to reach a water table? And for that hole to become a lake? What are the consequences of that? It's quite common. When the excavation reaches that depth, the water starts to seep in and fill the hole. But they do pumping, right? And then if the mining is stopped, this pumping is interrupted. The hole naturally fills in, creating an artificial lake. Crazy, huh? Let's see here. I think here as well. We can make a level here a bit lower as well, but here we can't go down any further. Here, I think it goes up to 15. Let's see. Okay, that's it. It's gonna stay like this. I'll hit play and see what happens here. Regarding the water, probably nothing good. The thing is, the water here on our map, it starts at the height. Look here, 35, let's say. So everything from 35 here. I think that if I reset the water to sea level, it will turn into a lake. Well, but how is this water usually extracted? While the mine is operating, I'm not going to fill it with water on purpose, okay? This is just for us to have a reference. I asked, what's the largest active mining excavation in Brazil? And Google says it's the Carajás complex operated by Vale in the southeast of Pará. Let's check here on Google Maps. Here's the Carajás mine. And we can see here that you can really see it from far away, right? The reddish stain. And what's my question when it comes to making the route for the road? To know if the highway goes through or at least along the side of the excavation. And here, look, Dr. Paisel Highway. It goes through, it's not paved, but it goes through, right? There's no street view image, but it's a highway. I don't know if it's a federal one. Anyway, here's the city of Carajás. And we have this highway leaving the city. Let's take a look. Here, it's paved. Carajás really looks like a city from City Skylines, right? And look at the houses. All the same style. Probably built for the miners, right? And here, look, we can take a look. Well, it must be peaceful. Now, where are the shops in this town, right? I wonder, look, there's a park here, a little square, a school, but is most of it really just residential? Look, there's a shop here, I think. Supermarket anyway. But then look, at some point this road, look, this one is a train track. No, a dirt road. At some point it stops being paved. And no, it goes around here, look, around the excavation. And here, look, it's still paved here. See, inside the excavation, look, it's paved. You can see this is asphalt, right? The soil feels very different here. Look, see? Paint on the asphalt here, man, and it goes right through the mining area. Look here, is even an intersection here, a roundabout, and here is the paint on the asphalt. I didn't know this happened here. Interesting. If Carajás can do it, so can Bahia de Barbosa. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna build a ramp so we can go up this road all the way to the top here. Of course, I'm not gonna leave a highway like this duplicated, right? Up here, I'm going to use a compact road to make it more fitting. But I'm going to build this ramp with a slope tool. And then I'm going to take this point here as the starting point and come up here to the highest point and pull it all the way there, see? And then we can create this ramp here. I'm going to do it everywhere because the idea is to show that here, actually, it's not a man-made ramp, actually. It already existed when you go up here, this hill, okay? To make it look a bit more natural, I'm going to create some imperfections here. See, so it doesn't all look perfectly straight, all right. And here we have a natural slope. So I'm gonna start by laying down a two-way road, 2 lanes at this level here, okay? And then I'll make some access roads going down, adding more imperfections here, see, to make the slope look more natural. And even here a bit, so it doesn't look too flat either, right? So I'll just give it a few light touches here. All right, much better. And now let's lay down this road here, see? I'll do the following, I'll bring it over. I'll use straight lines and curves, a straight line and a curve. Where I can go straight, I'll go straight here. It's pretty easy. Up to here. Here, I'll have to make a slight curve this way, and I'll keep going. See, going around the whole excavation until I finish the circle here. So, there it is. The little road going around everything right here at the entrance, right? We have 3 lanes, which I think aren't necessary. So I'm gonna change this here, look, into 2 lanes. And a little further ahead, make the uphill part 4 lanes. At least up to this entrance here, I believe that here we can have an entrance with 4 lanes and add a roundabout here to connect this section. So it's from here to here, here to here. Change the direction, you're right. Now we just go up. We're working with the slope for vehicles. Up to 10%, I'm not sure exactly how much it is. Up to here is fine. Oh, 5%, pretty easy, right? It's pretty smooth. I'm still gonna make it a bit curved to make it even smoother. See, look, it's really easy here. The climb in this S is almost like going up a mountain. And from here on, we can work. Add an entrance. Here's how it's going to be. I'm going to take the 2-lane road again. I'll even disable all of these. Join here so it doesn't get in my way. I had made things complicated here, which in the end wasn't even necessary, okay? In the end, I'm not gonna mess with this anymore because I think this entrance is fine. And now we're going to create the dirt roads to access inside here. But before the access roads, I wanna make the lower level roads here in the lower rings. So here, since these are dirt roads, I don't really need to worry so much about making a curve or a straight line like I did before. Right, on the paved road, actually, here the creation of this road can be much freer. So we finish here, look, a road. Then I'll make another one down here, and then another one down here, and then, right, the same process here in the second crater. All right. Now, to create the roads here on the upper level, actually, I'm going to connect the 2 craters here with each other by means of a dirt road. Yes, all right, and then make the roads here on the upper level that go up the mountain here. So the idea is also to take advantage of these excavations that were made at the foot of the hill. And there weren't just a few, right? There were a lot. All right, after these, right? Now I'm going to create the access roads going from one level to another. Right? Going up from a lower ring to the upper ring. At strategic points, for example, here the terrain is kind of sloped. I could put a road here, and then I'll also create, I don't know, other accesses here, I think good access. And then I'll also do it on these lower levels. All right, I think that's good. Now we're really gonna go up here and create the accesses, the roads here, a curve over here, right? I can even make a fork here. I also think it's possible to make a fork. You see, and take advantage of the downhill spaces here. The problem is that these zoning squares here prevent me from seeing the terrain properly, but all right. I'm making the descents here, but always with curves, because the curve ends up being less steep, right, than a straight line. Look at this corner here, at these bends. If I can make a little access like this, I'll do it here. Another thing is, man, doing a project of this magnitude here, man, it's crazy. It's really, really big, right? And it takes time, man. It takes time for you to leave everything filled in like this, done just right. I'm even using, whenever I can, look, the one-way streets to make the accesses here, okay? I think I took advantage of all the access ramps we created here, and the layout turned out really cool, huh? With good use, now what's left is to place the industries, right? Let's first see if there's ore here, because with the ore tool, I'm not sure if there's ore here in the original map. Look, I think there is, huh? Man, we kind of got lucky because in the original map here, it's all mineral. So let's go. There can be stone extraction, coal extraction, ore extraction. Yeah, I believe there are even 3 parts here, right? This first one, this second one here in the second crater, and the third one, this one going up here. So I'm gonna do it progressively, okay? I'm gonna do this one. Yeah, stone here, I'll make charcoal, and here at the very end, the ore. The deposits there of more precious stones. The problem, man, is fitting these extraction tools into these spaces because it got a bit tight. But let's try. There's already one here that fit just fine. Let's go around, circle this whole road. All right, there's already one here, right? Let's see where else it fits. Man, this is really big here. Where are you putting it? I think if we put one here, there will be one more, right on the edge of the road here. Should we make another one over here? I think I'll create it, especially because of this excavator, right? It's more vertical, and the land we left here on the mountain is more horizontal, so I'll create a road here to place the machine horizontally. Look, this one's done. Another one too, and we'll keep filling this in. This one, huh? It turned out just right here. In this part, I think it looks good. There's space here. Maybe I could change the color a bit. It doesn't make sense to have grass here, right? If this area is being excavated, the grass is a problem. Let's see if there's a texture here for us to change, and also, right, that I can apply over the industry without changing it. Look, this one already changes everything. It changes the road, it changes the excavation area here. Look, this forestry one is good. The downside is that it also changes here. Look, the ore one, right? It doesn't change the road. This is something I have to do little by little. The idea, let's see if it looks good. Yeah, doing it like this, see? An outline here, you see? I'm making a contour, and the idea is to transfer this wear here to this grass, right? It doesn't make sense to have grass here. Let's see how it turns out. Look. See? Look. Ah, looks much better, right? Another one will go in here. A gigantic production process, right? I'm gonna detail it here. Look, this wear on the road, the terrain. But all of this is in the expectation and hope that the result will look good in the end. See that? I put some wear here on the side of the road, and we took out some of the grass, right? Man, I think we could put this texture everywhere here. Look, even over the road, it's fine because it gets dirty, right? And man, I think it's okay. I'll test it. If it looks bad, we can erase it. Oh, it turned out well, not bad. It got rid of that annoying little grass, actually. It didn't really get rid of it, right? But it wore it down pretty well. Here, look, I think that's enough texture, right? Now I'm gonna put some rocks here like this to also make the scene look more random. All right, you don't really need much of this here. Now I'm gonna bring back the forest vegetation here because I believe this is the final effect. It's kind of weird, right? Seeing this without trees and all. If we put the trees like this, it would give even more of an impression of excavation because it would define the crater even more, right? It would make the contrast between the excavation and the native forest really clear. So I'm going to bring the vegetation back here until it's really close to this area where the excavation process begins. Now I'm gonna add these trees with different shades, yellowish, orangish, to create this blend. And now look how our mine looks. It's inserted into a context here, right? Of the mountain and the forest. Now it looks awesome. This excavation we did turned out really cool. The giant machines are already starting to appear. What is this, man? That's crazy. It's kind of, there's nothing we can do, right? Actually, it's a bit exaggerated. Some of them turned out cool. These ones here look good. They're animated, right? But this huge one here, man, it would be nice if we could choose or change it, right? But it's okay. I believe it's temporary. I wonder if a truck is already coming here. Let's see. Look, there's already a truck coming. The good thing is they pick up here, see, and come straight. They don't even go through the industrial district, right? Let's see who will be the first, and we'll get a first-person view going up the little hill. While no one arrives, I'm going to create a district area so we can know how many jobs are being generated here in this mine. So we have the creation of a... Man, is that it? Only 193 employees? It doesn't even come close. 33,000 employees versus 200. But alright, at least now we have a mine on the map. I hope at least it exports a lot, right? Each of these, like this huge deposit here, only has 3 employees. It's running efficiently, but there are just 3 employees. Anyway, let's see if there's already someone going up the little hill here. Let's switch to first-person view. Let's see, right? He's going up here. Look, the little hill with plenty of trees on the sides. The curves are pretty easy, and the incline is also very gentle. I believe any truck can go up here. See? Here the street is already dirt, right? That dirt everywhere. And here it already is. Look, on that main road up there. Look at this, man. The excavation is really cool here. It went down, and here, I don't know what the police are doing here, right? Patrolling around here. But you can see, look, the crater down there. It's cool that he also adds the little grids along with the terrain, right? So the whole area here ends up with a grid. And you can see the tractors. I'm going to get out of the police car, okay? We can see all the machinery here, needed here for this extraction. This is the dirt road, right? There, look. Excavation, let's go down another level. Here, look, here's another road. Here's the fence. Look here, it gives a really nice view here too. And look, let's pretend we're driving through here now. The slopes and declines turned out pretty good too, right? A lot of rocks everywhere, and really, the scenery here looks like a mining site, right? Does it match well? Anyway, I like the result. Both here in this more intimate, closer view, and also in a more distant setting. Right, see? Here we can see the excavation we did there on the rock. It looks good. We can see the mark there, see, from the excavation, right? Really cool, almost the same size here, for example, as our Eastern European village. Look, one's up there and the other's down here. Anyway, my dear friends, I'm going to end the episode here with you, okay? I really hope from the bottom of my heart that you enjoyed the whole building process here. It was a lot of work. So if you haven't liked it yet, if you forgot to leave your like at the beginning of the video, now is your time to leave a like and support all the work, all the effort here. All right. And while you enjoy the view of how the excavation turned out, thank you so much for making it this far to the very end of the episode. You're amazing. You're awesome. A big thank you as well to the council members whose names are appearing right now as a way of showing our gratitude in the credits for being part of the members group. Here from the channel, we're always together. A big hug to all of you and see you next time. See ya.